Taiwan, I'm Eric Gao in Taipei, bringing you the latest news. China's decision to loosen cross-strait trade rules and partially relax tourism restrictions is being met with caution here in Taiwan. The announcement came after a visit to China by members of the main opposition party, as John Van Trieste reports.
Good news for the farmers of these pomelos. After almost 2 years, China says it will reopen its market to pomelos grown in Taiwan. Nearly 5,000 metric tons of the citrus fruit made its way to Chinese store shelves in 2021. But on August 3, 2022, China suddenly closed the door. The official explanation was bugs and excess pesticides. But many saw the visit hours earlier of U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taipei as the real trigger. That visit infuriated Beijing, which sees Taiwan as its own and doesn't like officials from other governments coming to Taiwan. The decision to reverse this ban came during a meeting Sunday between Chinese customs officials and a visiting delegation of Taiwanese lawmakers from the main opposition Kuomintang. There's no date yet for the ban being lifted, but Taiwanese farmers are already happy.
可以多一个行销的通路的话，那对我们文旦柚农它相对的是有一些正面的帮助。
And that's not all. 2 types of fish from Taiwan are also going to be let back into China's market. Taiwan's tourism industry, hit by Chinese bans on its citizens visiting the country, is getting a boost too. After the Taiwanese delegation's visit, Beijing said it will let tourists from its coastal Fujian province travel to Taiwan's nearby Matsu Islands. And residents of 20 Chinese cities will once more be able to apply to visit Taiwan.
福建省有4-5千万的居民，这样子的一个旅客能量，对于台湾各县市的观光来说，都是一场及时雨。
Not everyone's totally satisfied. The Mainland Affairs Council, which charts Taiwan's China policy, says China shouldn't limit visitors to the Matsu Islands to residents of just one province. But the members of the delegation who got these concessions from China see their work as a success.
此行我们虽然是国民党的一小步，却是在断线8年以后两岸的一大步。我们此行带回来给台湾人民一个丰硕的成果。
There's caution too, though, with many doubting Beijing's announcements are solely motivated by goodwill.
中国共产党在对外谈判的时候，特别是跟他的对手谈判的时候，往往强调一手硬一手软，好像把一个恩惠做给了在野的国民党，可是呢，给民进党更大的这个压力。
Whatever Beijing's intentions, there are signs that it's prepared to use whatever it takes to realize its ultimate goal, bringing Taiwan under its control. Patrick Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
The alleged leader of a human trafficking ring in Taiwan has been arrested after a 6-year search. The man is suspected of bringing hundreds of people into the country illegally, mostly from Vietnam. He was arrested in 2018 after a smuggling case involving the deaths of 3 people, but he never reported to authorities to begin his sentence and went into hiding. Police believe he later continued his trafficking operations. Prosecutors in Kaohsiung are now handling the investigation. 2 more people have died in a Taipei food poisoning outbreak, bringing the death toll to 4. The health ministry says the 2 people died over the weekend from multiple organ failure. 2 other people are still hospitalized, one of whom required a liver transplant. The deaths are linked to a deadly toxin called pancreatic acid that was confirmed in samples taken from the restaurant where the victims ate in mid-March. Support is continuing to pour in to help rebuild Hualien almost a month after a huge earthquake caused massive damage in the area. As Chris Gordon reports, some offers of help were unexpected.
Offerings of incense are made before this building is demolished in Hualien. It's one of several structures that are condemned and slated for destruction, being damaged and deemed unsafe after this month's magnitude 7.2 earthquake. The eastern city is working to recover from the quake, and demolitions are ramping up.
明天会加派2部500型的短手的来加入拆除速度会加快。
The residents of this building specifically asked that their building be demolished, scared that the aging structure would not survive another quake. Similar decisions have been made for several other structures in the city. Offers of help have come from many sources, including China, which on Saturday offered to donate prefabricated houses for Hualien residents left homeless by the quake. Taiwanese officials say there's currently no need.
如果还有所谓的这个组合屋的需要， 那我们也请花莲县政府要做完整个灾民的意愿调查之后，再来这个做相关的一个工作。
Another offer of support has come from the world-famous Taiwanese rock band Mayday, who says they will play a benefit concert in Hualien. Beyond raising funds, the concert might also raise the spirits of those whose homes are being torn down.
听到5月天要来花莲的消息，真的是我们在近期整个花莲低潮当中最好的消息了。
非常欢迎，而且是我们可以极大的激励我们花莲人的信心。
There's no easy way to rebuild after a disaster, but Hualien residents are doing their best to live with their new reality and to keep their spirits up along the way. Eason Chen and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Tesla founder Elon Musk met with Chinese Premier Li Qiang on Sunday to talk about electric vehicles. Musk is in China to discuss introducing Tesla's most advanced self-driving software for its cars to the Chinese market. He has just reached a deal with major internet search company Baidu to access its mapping license for road data collection. China is Tesla's second largest market and is home to the company's first international plant, built in Shanghai in 2018. At least 5 people are dead and dozens injured after a tornado struck the city of Guangzhou in southern China on Saturday. Emergency rescue workers completed their search of the city's affected district over the weekend. State media says hundreds of factories have been damaged. Guangzhou is the capital of Guangdong Province, one of China's major industrial centers. The region has seen a wave of extreme weather and flooding in recent weeks. Thousands of people across Australia are marching to raise awareness about domestic violence, demanding more government action. Rosie Greninger reports.
Taking to the streets, demanding action against domestic violence. From Australia's major cities to smaller towns, the message from thousands of protesters is clear. Enough is enough.
I think the government needs to declare this devastating thing that's happening to women as a national emergency. Enough women have died. It's really, really upsetting. I think we're human. We shouldn't be getting killed.
The rallies were sparked by a sharp rise in violence against women in the country. This year so far, 27 women have been murdered by men known to them. That's 1 woman every 4 days. The figure is almost double compared to the same period last year. These protesters want more support and services for the victims of family violence and sexual assault, and tougher criminal laws on gender brutality, including tighter controls on apprehended violence orders and bail restrictions. This also comes in the wake of a mass stabbing in Sydney at a Bondi Junction shopping centre, where 6 people were killed, including 5 women. Police believe the male perpetrator targeted women. Speaking at a rally in the nation's capital, Canberra, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese declared the issue a national crisis.
We're here as well to say that society and Australia must do better. We need to change the culture, we need to change attitudes. We need to change the legal system. We need to change the approach by all governments, because it's not enough to support victims. We need to focus on the perpetrators and focus on prevention.
Demonstrators want Albanese to turn this talk into action. The leader has ordered an emergency cabinet meeting to address the rise in violence. But the government has so far declined calls for an independent public inquiry into the issue, instead doubling down on the policy framework implemented in 2022 to stamp out domestic violence through education and early intervention. People from all walks of life participated in the demonstration, but some thought the gender balance was off.
There are more women here than men, it's obvious, but there are lots of men here, and I know a lot of men, they're not in support of the violence, so it'd be really nice to see them actively opposing the violence.
Out on the streets, these protesters say the change in Australia needs to begin inside its homes, with better education and awareness. But the beginning of that change is evident here at these rallies, as protesters overcome anger, fear and grief to take to the streets in numbers in a plea for action for current and future generations. Ryan Wu and Rosie Greninger for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's athletes are training and suiting up for the Paris Olympics. Sandy Chi met the designer behind the official outfits that Team Taiwan will wear to the opening ceremony.
It's sharp and athletic, resembling a formal suit, but not quite. This is the uniform Taiwan's athletes competing under the name Chinese Taipei will wear at the opening ceremony of this year's Olympics in Paris. Designer Justin Zhou came up with this design. He's been in the fashion industry for almost 2 decades, and he has a history of designing athletic wear. Taiwan's 2020 Olympic uniform was his too. This time, though, he decided to do something different.
那把奥运进场服打造一个，我觉得比较是脱离大家想象传统的制服那个刻板印象，也是一种挑战。
The theme of this collection is Taiwan Dreams, Taiwan Power. Zhou incorporated official colors of the Chinese Taipei Olympic Committee, red, white, and blue, and included elements such as mountains, seas, cities, and plains in the patterns and prints. Zhou's creations are on display in Taipei for a limited time, giving ordinary people a chance to see them up close.
其实每一段都很困难，真的，因为每一段几乎都是透过10次的打样，重新改色，重新的调整，一直在调整。
Getting from concept to finished product took 6 months, and Zhou wasn't working alone. He says working with other artists on his team wasn't always easy.
比如说鞋面的部分，这个香皂是鞋面，一天一个工艺师一天一个人工作8小时，只能织7.5公分，所以一双鞋子的鞋面其实就要4天。那他不断的在这个织的过程，其实他讲的就像运动员，你要不断的练习同一个动作。
The team was also spread out across Taiwan, requiring a fair amount of travel.
Among the artists is rotating text designer Lin Guoqing, who created the Chinese Taipei logo. And when we reverse it, it shows the phrase 加油, which means go in Mandarin.
我想我们民众在看到我们运动员的表现的时候，我们都会说加油加油加油。
Other than the creative designs and smart looks, these outfits have to be comfortable, especially since the opening ceremony will be held in the middle of the Parisian summer.
他穿着身上就像穿着一片森林在行走，是希望能够让他们的压力可以释放，感受到舒适，然后还有非常凉感，而且这个凉感是你碰到水才会凉感，就是你流汗，水碰到肌肤反而会更凉。
Despite all the design team's work, public reaction was mixed.
我觉得大家蛮多人是不能接受，一般的民众我看酸民很多，他有就说哇这颜色太花啦，太亮啦。那其实我自己倒是蛮觉得说这是我预料之内的。
Still, many others were fascinated by the design.
I think it's really inventive, actually. It's quite deceptively simple, so when you see it, the silhouettes are quite standard, but actually I think the cultural innovation and the kind of thought behind the concept from the designer is really strong, actually.
觉得还蛮惊艳的，就是觉得很能代表台湾，然后也很期待这次可以在这国际赛事上看到这么漂亮的衣服。
Zhou says he hopes to join the athletes in Paris, a way of showing up for the team. And he says he's still ready to make any necessary adjustments to his uniforms. The ultimate goal is to make sure Taiwan's Olympians can show off the best Taiwan has to offer on the world stage. Justin Wu, Joseph Wu, and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Conservation groups are calling for better protection for Taiwan's endangered leopard cats. It comes as more of the wild animals are being spotted around reservoir construction sites in central Taiwan. Over the past 5 years, 21 leopard cats have been caught on cameras set up to monitor their movements in that area. The conservation groups are worried that the construction could threaten the animals' natural habitat. They say the dumping of waste soil in a nearby river has forced leopard cats to leave their familiar surroundings. Thanks for watching What's Up Taiwan. Before we go, check out these corgis, all dressed up at a Moscow exhibition dedicated to the Star Wars movie series. This is the way. I'm Eric Gao, and I'll see you later on TaiwanPlus News.